You know, great customer service is so much more than just a buzzword. It's a real competitive advantage. But how do you actually build a service strategy that's not just some document collecting dust, but is part of your company's very DNA? That's the real challenge. So today we're going to break down a really powerful framework for architecting a culture that delivers exceptional service every single time. So let's dive right in with what is probably the single most important rule from our source material. Seriously, everything else we talk about today rests on this one non-negotiable foundation. A winning service strategy doesn't start with the frontline team, it starts in the boardroom. Without that absolute rock-solid commitment from the top, even the best plans are, well, they're pretty much destined to fail. But it's one thing to say, we need leadership support. What does that actually look like in practice? How do leaders provide the real, tangible structure and the resources their teams need to actually succeed? That's the core question we're going to answer. And that brings us to a really powerful framework that's designed to answer that exact question. It's a tool for leaders to actively build and support a winning service culture. It's called the Customer Service Diamond. And you've got to notice the key phrasing here. This is a model to build a culture, one that's actively driven by top management. So this isn't just a list of suggestions. Think of it more like a blueprint for leadership to architect success from the very top down. A diamond is defined by its facets, right? Each one catches the light and contributes to the whole thing. So what are the four essential facets that make up this powerful strategic model? Let's take a look. And here they are, super simple and clear. Vision, objectives, values, and strategies. Now, each one is its own distinct element, but as we're about to see, they are completely interconnected. So let's break down each one. So let's start with the first and maybe the most fundamental facet. This is the guiding light for everything else, your vision. The vision answers this critical question. And we're not talking about next month's sales target here. This is the North Star. It's the long-term destination you are steering the entire ship towards. What does the absolute pinnacle of success actually look like for your service culture? Now, a big picture vision is essential, but you can't get there without a map. And that brings us to our second facet, turning that vision into tangible objectives. So if vision is the destination, think of objectives as the specific, measurable milestones on that map. They translate that inspiring long-term goal into concrete targets you actually need to hit, proving you're on the right track and making the whole vision actionable. Okay, so we have our destination and we have our milestones, but how we make that journey, well, that's just as important. And this brings us to the third facet, which is the very heart of your culture, your values. See, it's not just about reaching the destination, it's about how you get there. Values answer this question. They are the guiding principles, kind of like the rules of the road that dictate every decision and every action your team takes as they pursue their objectives. With our destination, our milestones, and our rules of the road all in place, it's time to actually start driving. And that brings us to our final facet, the one that puts it all into motion, strategies. This is where the plan becomes action. This is where the rubber meets the road. Strategies answer the most practical question of all. They are the detailed roadmaps, the specific initiatives, the projects, the daily tasks your team will execute to hit their objectives, all while upholding your core values. And here's the absolute key takeaway. These aren't four separate columns on a spreadsheet. No way. They are a deeply interconnected system. A brilliant vision is useless without clear objectives, and those objectives are meaningless if your strategies and your values don't line up with them. They have to work in perfect harmony. And this table just illustrates the entire system perfectly. Your vision is the why. That's your North Star. Your objectives are the what, the specific targets you're aiming for. Your values are the how, the rules of the game. And your strategies, that's the plan, the roadmap to get it all done. When all four of these are aligned, you have an unstoppable service culture. It's that simple. And this brings us right back around to our foundational rule, where we started. The customer service diamond isn't just some framework for the team, it is the essential tool for senior management. This is how leaders provide that clear, structured, and committed support that ultimately guarantees success. So as we finish up here, ask yourself, what does your company's service diamond look like? Can you clearly define your vision, your objectives, your values, and your strategies? Is it built on a solid foundation, or is there a facet that maybe needs a little bit of polishing?